Hi guys, welcome to or back to my channel. My name is Jade, and if you're new here, welcome. Today's video is going to be about things I wish I knew in college. So these could be things that I learned while I was in college, things that I learned after, but basically just anything I wish I knew while I was in college that can help someone who may be going to college or is currently in college. So the first thing I wish I knew, and I heard someone on Instagram say this, so I'll link it down below if I can find it. But basically, there was a girl who was saying, when you're in college, it can be difficult to find a major and figure out what you want to do. And a lot of the times, people come out of college with a lot of debt, and they tend to wonder if their degree was worth it, or they tend to wonder if they should have done something else. So one piece of advice I have is major in something that can help you make money to maybe pay back your student loans, or even just to make money in general that you can also put towards your passion. So let's say you have a passion for writing. You can still minor in writing, creative writing. You can join a creative writing club, but major in something maybe like business or marketing. That way you can market yourself, or if you want to start a business, you can do that and you'll have the tools to do it. That way you also get to do both. You get to do your passion and something that maybe has a little bit more stability. Second piece of advice I would say is to join clubs and organizations. So you have your clubs like your writing club and your science club, but then you also have your organizations like student ambassador, student government, and those can help you really make friends and also build a network. So you can meet people that are really cool, that you enjoy hanging out with, and that have similar interests as you. And you can also build a network of friends and people that you know that can also help you after you graduate. Also, different organizations give an opportunity to meet people outside of other students. Maybe they're officials in your community, maybe they're people who just live in the area, just really people outside of your school network that you can also increase your network as far as employment later on. The thing I wish I knew before I started college is that reaching out to your classmates is very important. Having a community of students around you who are in your field where you can bounce off of each other, especially if you're doing group projects, you'll know somebody in your class, somebody that you can work with. Having people in your class that you know can be great just for friendship and companionship, and having someone in your field that you're close with. And so I would strongly recommend reaching out to your classmates, even if you're shy like I was, or if you feel awkward or you don't really know what to say. I'd strongly recommend reaching out to your classmates. And this can also be done in different ways. Maybe you can form a study group from your classmates, even if you're not working together for a group project. I know with my school there was a Facebook group with my class in it, so like class of 2021, or a students group that will help you connect with some of your classmates, or even people who aren't your classmates and you guys just go to the same university. Another thing I wish I'd done more in college was enjoyed the campus itself. The school that I went to was like a medium-sized school. It wasn't very big, it wasn't very small, but the campus was really nice. There was lots of greenery, we had a nature trail, different restaurants. I remember times where I would take walks on campus, and it was so peaceful, so relaxing. I got my exercise in, and I really wish I would have enjoyed that more. And I wish I would have spent more time on campus, walking around, seeing different people that I knew, and just really soaking it all in. Because once you graduate, I mean, you're an alumni, you can come back, and it's an open campus generally speaking. But there's something about being a student and being able to walk the campus that just feels so nice. So I would definitely recommend taking time to enjoy the campus. If you're an on-campus student, I know there's online students. If you're an on-campus student, taking the time to enjoy the campus. Another thing I would say is enjoy the dorm life. If you live on campus, if you live in a dorm or a residence hall or an apartment on campus, I would say enjoy that, because for me at least, you have a little taste of freedom and a little taste of independence, because you're not living somewhere and paying bills every month if you're living on campus, but you are also getting to kind of live on your own or with a roommate, which can be really nice. And just having your own space is just so relaxing and can be the first step towards independence when you do eventually move out and get your own apartment or your own house. It's like a stepping stone or a building block to becoming a full-fledged on your own adult. One thing I wish I knew that I actually learned while I was in college is to study in sections. I once had a friend who was very smart. He excelled in like everything, and he once told me that when you study so much together, you sort of make your brain fuzzy. You sort of get a little discombobulated. You get a little exhausted, and so you get fatigued. But one thing he recommended was taking breaks and maybe having a snack, maybe going for a walk. And so one thing I started doing was I'd do work maybe for an hour in one class, and then I'd take a break, and then I'd start again in another class for about an hour, and that helped me to retain the information and really understand what I was reading. And I didn't burn myself out trying to consume so much information, and I think that helped me do a whole lot better than just cramming, basically. Even if it's not the day before the test, sometimes there's so much information you just feel like you have to cram everything in, but that's not always the best course of action when you want to actually retain the information. So I would definitely suggest, and one thing I'm so glad I learned, is to take breaks. Please take breaks. And also realize that your life does not revolve around school. You're at school, you want to learn, you want to get an education, and that's totally fine. But when you make the academics your life, sometimes it can absorb you and you can miss moments that you wish you had. So I would definitely say, remember that you still have a life, and you can do things outside of studying, even though studying is a priority. Another thing I learned while I was in college is to talk to your professors, communicate with them, because when you sort of just go to class and then go home, you kind of become just one in a sea of people. But if your professors know you, they tend to pay more attention maybe to your work ethic and to just who you are as a student, and that can help in the long run. If you're having trouble, if you're falling behind, they know, okay, this person isn't slacking off, this person puts effort into their work, they need help, let me help them. They're also really good for if you need a letter of recommendation one day, or if you have a professor who's worked in the field that you are wanting to go into, they can provide tips and insight and also kind of help you with starting your career and where you want to go post-graduation. So talking with your professors, getting to know them is very, very important, and it's something that I would absolutely suggest. Another thing that I wish I'd done when I was in college is take advantage of the services that they provide. So if you have career services, people to help you with post-grad life and kind of where you want to go and what you want your career to look like. They help with resumes, they help with cover letters, headshots if you need a headshot for your job, for your LinkedIn, anything like that. It is so helpful to go to career services. If you're a first-time in college student, sometimes colleges have services for that. So if you, maybe it be an office, an advisor, but if you're a first-time in college student, they can really help with that. Also, if you're choosing a minor or wanting to choose a minor, which I'll talk more about that later, definitely reach out to your advisor or the advisor in that department, and they can kind of help you out with where you want to go with that. Another service to take advantage of is free food. A lot of the times there'll be events on campus and you'll have free food. Always be aware of those, because there were times when I would go buy food and then I notice there's food right there. And that was not fun, because when you're a college student, you know you definitely have to save your money, you know you definitely have to really budget, and so if you spend money on food one day when you could have spent it another day, it's kind of like, ugh, why didn't I pay attention to that? So I would definitely pay attention to events. Sometimes they'll have raffles where you win prizes and just different campus life in that nature. So now more on the side of things that I didn't know when I went to college that I wish I knew when I went to college. The first thing is excess credits, which I don't know if this is a thing at every school, but at my school there was an excess credit threshold or limit where if you went over a certain amount, your classes would cost more per credit hour. You may not get financial aid for those classes. And so it's really, really important to pay attention to your excess credit limit. And something that can contribute to this that I also wish that I knew while I was in college or before I started college is your dual enrolled courses. So a lot of the times these courses are general education classes, so they won't hurt you. But if you are unsure of your major, you don't really know what you want to do, those classes count towards your degree. So if you get so many of them, you may have to pick a major once you get to college, which is what happened in my case. I thought, oh, I have time, I have 2 years, they're general classes anyway. Well, turns out I had taken all my general classes with dual enrolled classes. So dual enrolled classes are great and they can really be helpful, especially because essentially you're getting free college. So that's wonderful. But just keep in mind that those classes are counting toward your major. So they can count towards excess hours if you decide to change your major later, and they can also kind of push you to having to make a decision sooner than you may think you need to. Also with excess credits, this is where your minor comes in as well. Your minor counts, the classes that you take for your minor, they count towards your excess credits. So anything that you do is going to count towards your excess credits. So let's say you have 135 is your limit of credits that you can take before you've passed your threshold. Well, maybe your major is 120 credits, and then your minor is maybe, let's say, 15 credits. So at that point, you're at your 135 credits, and you don't really have enough room to need to take another class or retake a class. So when you're thinking about your minor, definitely make sure you know it's something that you want to do, or even if you drop it, it won't hurt you. But make sure you're paying attention to those excess credits when it comes to your minor, when it comes to changing your major, when it comes to retaking classes. You want to make sure you notice that and stay on top of that. And if you have any questions about it, definitely talk to your advisor because they're there to help you. And you want to make sure you're asking your questions and getting them answered. Even if your advisor doesn't answer them, find someone who can. And if you have any more questions about it, leave them down below and I'll try to answer them and see if we can get it figured out. One thing that I absolutely, it's like the number one thing, or maybe like the number 2 thing, I wish I knew before I went to college is how to figure out how much my tuition was going to be, because I was so confused. I did not know, and I didn't know how much that was in comparison to my financial aid, and I definitely wish I would have check that out first. So definitely make sure you know how much your classes cost, how much your tuition is going to be, how much your room and board is going to be, any cost that you're going to have. You want to make sure you find that out, whether it's from your advisor or someone in financial services, as well as how much your financial aid is going to be. I know that there was an app or a section of our student portal that told us, okay, this is how much your tuition is, this is how much all of your costs are going to be, like books, any fees, and then also you can contact financial aid to see what your financial aid is going to be, or use your student portal, whatever that may be. But yes, knowing how much your costs are going to be compared to your aid is very, very important, because then you know, okay, how much more do I need, or if you're taken care of. And you definitely want to know that before you end up at a due date or a deadline, and having to scramble. So that's definitely something to pay attention to. That's definitely something to know. Another thing I like to mention is work study as far as financial aid goes. I know a lot of people talk about scholarships and loans, but there are also grants which you don't have to pay back, so they're like scholarships. And then also work study, where you work a job, maybe on campus, maybe off campus, but it's generally through your school, and you get financial aid that way. But you get it as you work. The number of hours you work and how much you get paid per hour is coming from financial aid, but you get paid, so you'll get basically a check or direct deposit. But you can apply for, I know I applied for work study through FAFSA. I think maybe grants also come from FAFSA. I'm not entirely sure about that, but definitely do your FAFSA. Definitely make sure you're on top of your financial aid, because that's going to help you in the long run. One thing that I did not anticipate when going to college, and because I lived on campus for a time, was homesickness, which is very odd because I wasn't sad to leave home, and I was excited to start college and start this new chapter in my life. But for some reason, at first my dorm didn't feel like home. So there was a little bit of homesickness, or kind of like when you're at school and you feel like, oh, I'm kind of ready to go home. That's sort of how I felt in my dorm. And I was like, what's going on here? But after a week, I believe it was like a couple days to a week, once I got into a routine, going to class, going to my work study, eating lunch, I had my TV shows I was watching. Once I got into that routine, my dorm started to feel like home, and I started to feel like, okay, I can do this. Like, this is totally fine. So I would say prepare yourself for possible homesickness. And I don't think it happens to everyone, but prepare yourself for possible homesickness and know that that's normal and it will pass. Once you get into your routine, it should pass. Okay, so the last thing I wish I knew before I started college is the college discounts. I did not know that there were so many discounts for college students, and I did not partake in some of those discounts, and I didn't find out until after I graduated, which was a bummer. So definitely look out for student discounts, whether they're in your college town or if it's a corporation that does student discounts. Definitely check those out. Definitely be on the lookout for those, because those can help you a lot in the long run, and it can help you short term as well. Whatever services you are using, see if they have a student discount, because that is the best. So that's all that I have for this video today. I hope that you learned something that can be helpful. If you know someone who's going to college or thinking of going to college, or even if they're in college now, be sure to share this video with them. And if you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a comment. Also, if you want me to do a part 2 of this video, leave some questions down below. Questions that you have about college, things that maybe you're concerned about, leave them down below. Also, if you are going to high school or you know someone in high school and you have any questions about high school and what to expect and things you need to know, leave them down below as well, and I will do a high school video. That's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed, and until next time, I'll see you later.